Hey!
Oh,
Hey!
hey.
You're listening to episode 16 of Fresh Floppies.
Here you Oh, hey, what's up to our sidekicks and henchfolk out there in the Geek Nation? Thank you for joining us on Fresh Floppies, the show wherein we will discuss today's
Gabagool.
new releases that are coming out on the comic book shelves at your local comic shop, your LCS.
Spoilers.
Short.
Filled with spoilers?
Spoiler free.
Oh, free of spoilers.
Sans spoilers.
Not we're giving them spoilers for free. It's
No.
it's devoid of.
Yes.
Devoid of
Yes.
spoilers. Yeah.
Anti-spoiler. Except for maybe this episode at the end, we'll let you know what happens.
Well,
Because there's a big thing that we're going to start off with. But we don't want to spoil it for you. But if you're interested, at the end of the show,
After the credits.
yeah, keep listening and we'll tell you what what is.
What the what?
What the what?
What the what? I'll even time code it for
Oh,
no
I'm
reason
JD.
whatsoever. Oh, yeah. Hey.
That's me. Johnny Destructo's Hero Complex is your local comic shop. If it's not your local comic shop, we do mail-outs. So we're still your local comic shop. 4327 Main Street, Philadelphia, PA. And with me is
Noel.
my friend.
Hey.
Hi.
Hi.
My buddy.
Hey.
My pal.
It's me.
My good time. What's that? He's my...
My good time boy.
Yeah. What's starting us off today from Robert Kirkman and Lorenzo De Felici?
I think we're going to talk about probably, arguably the biggest book this week.
Yeah.
Maybe the biggest book this month. Maybe the biggest book this summer.
Oh my God.
Called Void Rivals.
Mm-hmm. From Image
by
Comics.
Image Comics. Written by Robert Kirkman with art by Lorenzo De Felici. The creative team of Oblivion Song.
Wonderful.
And Robert Kirkman of Invincible, Walking Dead, Firepower,
Oblivion Song. Yeah.
I mean, we said that already.
Shit, you did. We did. Fuck.
Fuck, man.
You know what? Show's over.
And
messed it up.
what's Outcast?
Oh yeah, Outcast. That's what I meant.
And a couple runs of Marvel Comics.
Yeah.
Whatever. Anyway,
Like an
yeah,
Avengers.
Robert Kirkman. He's kind of freaking popular. People that don't even read comics are just like, what's that zombie show? And they read it like it's going out of style.
Yes.
You can't keep Invincible compendiums on the shelf.
That's true.
Yeah.
Very good. Very good series.
So yeah, brand new series of theirs. This series was clouded in mystery.
Yes. As a retailer, I was invited to a Zoom call with the Kirk. He lets me call him the Kirk. Robbie Kirks.
Robbie's.
And
Kirk.
he said, hey, here's Void Rivals. I'm very excited. We're working really hard on it. It's a great story. I think you'll dig it. He gave us the whole rundown, which is basically like Enemy Mine. A very topical reference.
Oh yeah, no.
from
I
the
think
80s.
I think there's a trend on TikTok about that film.
Enemy Mine starring...
Dennis Quaid and Louis Gossett Jr.
That's right.
Damn, that movie's awesome. Directed by John McTiernan,
Oh, was it?
I think.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
I love that movie.
I haven't watched it in a very long time. I grew up loving that movie. And it's
Mickey Mouse.
basically you have a humanoid and you have an alien, and they are trapped on the same world together. They are from warring factions, and they grow to become friends, having to survive on this place by themselves. That is what Void Rivals is. You've got two warring factions. They meet on a planet. They are enemies, and they have to try to not murder each other and stay alive. And then there is also a big reveal in the book, which is it's actually pretty big. That's pretty cool.
I don't even want to talk about the reveal. Let's talk about the actual. Let's just talk about the plot of this. Yeah.
Yeah. At the end, after the credits, we will tell you the reveal.
Yeah. We'll talk about the reveal later on because it's one of those things it's going to be completely unavoidable. But maybe you could save yourself until you get to the shop.
Yeah.
That's about it. But
you know what?
But beyond this, like Wednesday, Thursday, it's going to be everywhere in the titles of everything.
I recommend it. I'm going to start off with that.
Yeah, I
think it's a fun story. Even without the reveal, I'm like, oh, this is a classic setup.
Yeah. The reveal doesn't even matter.
Right,
Narratively, it is like in the old school, like, look at that red sky. I wonder what that's about. And then the story continues on like they used to do with DC.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd like to issue a small correction.
Okay.
Enemy Mine was directed by Wolfgang Peterson.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah, it's not John McTiernan. Yeah. I'm so sorry about that. I'm so sorry. Please don't come at me, film Twitter. Void Rivals. And this was it was a small book, but I liked it.
Yeah.
I liked it a lot. Like, I'm gonna be honest. I don't love Lorenzo De Felici's art.
Really?
Well, I didn't love it in Oblivion Song.
Okay.
But here, I don't mind it.
Oh,
I really like how he does technology.
Lovely.
I like how he does like their suits. I like how he does, because there's I thought that they were robots.
They do have very robotic looking helmets.
Helmet, like super suits or whatever.
Yeah.
And then it wasn't until kind of I realized, oh no, these are under like people underneath or humanoids underneath.
Yeah.
There's like a fluidity to it that I really, really like in this. It was good.
Yeah.
It was just this was a really solid issue. And the reveal itself is immaterial to the story.
Yep.
But I'm very interested in this small story.
Yeah.
And I hope that so reading the letter in the back by Kirkman, it seems as though he does have a plan for this story, which is great, as opposed to it just being a backdoor kind of thing for something else.
Right.
So I'm down. I'm down with this. This is delightful.
Yeah, I really like it. You know, I would be remiss if I did not mention Matthias Lopez, who is the colorist of this book. I think that I like Lorenzo De Felici's art quite a bit. It's kind of kinetic, but it also feels like the guy from the original artist on Invincible. Can't remember his name.
Cory Walker.
Cory Walker. It's very Cory Walker, but with like a little bit more kineticism to it, a little bit more movement.
Kirkman's got a type.
Yeah, and this the story itself is delightful. I really like the interaction between these two enemies, and how you can start to see the sort of maybe their walls come down just a little bit and then go back up a little bit. They're sort of like at this back and forth.
Derek and Salila.
Thank you.
Yeah, Derek and Salila. This was a really strong issue. Blind, pick it up. I'm just gonna straight up say blind, pick it up. It's agnostic of the kind of little reveal that's in here. Just grab it. It's strong.
I also like there's a second reveal to the story itself, which I like as well.
Yeah.
Between the two characters. So, fresh, very fresh.
Very fresh.
Very fresh.
Very fresh. It's
Do
good.
it.
It's a
Go
good
get it.
number one.
Next up.
Let's talk about the relaunched Black Panther by Eve L. Ewing and an artist whose name I will find in just 1 second because didn't
Eve
prepare.
L. Ewing?
Eve L. Ewing.
Eve L. Ewing, because there's an...
Al Ewing.
This is an Al.
No, it's not Al Ewing.
This whole time
It's
I
Eve
thought it was
Ewing.
Al Ewing, and I was like, this doesn't feel like Al Ewing. That explains it.
Eve L. Ewing
There we
and
go.
Chris Allen.
Thank you.
With ink by Chris Allen and Craig Young and Jesus Abruzzo as the colors.
Yeah.
Abruzzo? Huh?
I will say, I always try a Black Panther series when it comes out. I'm always excited for a new number one. And I've not historically stayed with him for a very long time. I find him to be in the realm of Silver Surfer, in that I don't have an emotional connection to this character, but that's not to say I don't like the character. But there's always a little bit of distance. He's a king.
He's a monarch. Yeah.
And it just I don't know. He speaks in a way sort of like the Silver Surfer. That doesn't speak to me specifically. I am more of a ground level kind of guy.
Well, can I ask you a question?
Please.
How often do you enjoy reading diplomatic intrigue, espionage, and...
It's not my bag, baby.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I don't even think it's the character. I think the Black Panther book usually always just like slots into those genres that I've never seen you read.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very political.
Very
and I don't mean
political.
that in the go woke, go broke.
No. It's
injecting politics into my... That's literally political.
Yeah, like
About politics.
the setup of this book is that in the last series by John Ridley,
Which
they moved from...
I love the first issue of that. Way better than this one.
They moved they moved from a monarchy to a democratic republic. Wakanda did, and a part of that was ousting T'Challa himself. Yeah. He's no longer the king. He's no longer welcome in Wakanda.
Yeah,
However,
he's actually been...
He's banished.
Banished.
I don't know exactly why, but whatever, comics. He's been.
Wait, we don't know exactly why because you didn't read it?
Because I didn't read it.
Same. Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't finish that story.
We don't know exactly why. I don't know exactly why, but all that matters is that he still, obviously, as the Black Panther, is protecting Wakanda. So he's doing it from a city on the outskirts of it's Wakanda, but on the outskirts of like the capital, which is a slum.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an old school looking steampunk Blade Runner-esque slum.
Yeah.
That is named after his father. But what is it, Burnin T'Chaka?
Burnin T'Chaka.
And just kind of trying to figure out what he is next. Now, that's the setup.
Mm-hmm. All of that, very, very interesting to me. I love that it's this new city of this version of Wakanda that I haven't seen yet. It's basically like, oh, what if we threw him in New York City? And he's no longer a king. He's just sort of a protector. I like all of this stuff. I love the look of his new costume.
Oh, his new costume's dope.
Which is basically the same as his old costume with some new accoutrements. But it's really the writing. Go on. What were you going to say?
The same. This suffered from the same kind of problem I had with the first couple of issues of Ta-Nehisi Coates' run. It is a lot of setup.
Ponderous? Is that the word? What does ponderous mean?
It's very thoughtful.
Yeah. It's a lot of monologuing in his head.
It is a lot of monologuing. I read this late last night, and it felt very long. And I got to tell you the choices too. So it's a lot of monologue text boxes. A lot.
Yeah.
But the art is also very dense in this slum, and the text boxes are black with white text in the dense art. So it really wasn't pleasing to the eye also to like follow and flow through the panels. I know it's a choice, but like I'm looking at the first couple, like it's almost blindness. I think I actually missed a couple and then went back and kind of read them again. It's just a lot. It is a very front-loaded book. But then when it slows down and there's actual dialogue between characters and and T'Challa actually sits down with somebody, it was just fine.
Yeah. He's basically been following. So he wants the city to know that the Black Panther is still here, even if they don't have a king. He's here to protect them. So he's making himself known. He's specifically going through and helping people. But he also has a thing where I guess there was some sort of test being set up, and he stops a purse snatcher, and
I didn't understand any of that.
I didn't understand it either. They were purposely. It was a test. To test this kid.
For them, yeah.
Yeah. It wasn't an actual purse snatching, and he winds up, stopping it and then kind of being embarrassed. He's like, oh, I don't know anything about this city. I don't know how this works. So me as a reader, I felt similar. I was like, oh, I didn't know how that worked either. So I'm with you.
When they introduced it's introducing essentially trying to introduce the stakes.
Yeah.
In his own land, he is a stranger.
Yeah.
But it's so front loaded that by the time you kind of get to that point, which is the last 3 pages of this comic, it feels like not enough.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel very meaty. Like the hook is so subtle that it's like, okay, I guess I get it. I got it 20 pages ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very dense read.
Yeah, and I like Eve Ewing. I've not read much of her stuff. I know she did like a very celebrated run on Ironheart and something else, but I know a lot of people are very excited about this book. So maybe I'm just missing something.
Yeah, maybe. The
fun.
cover's wonderful. I love this. Who is this cover artist? TC. Who's the cover? Actually, speaking of the art inside I think is really nice, really well done. It is a lot. Everything is jam-packed. Like there's a lot of backgrounds. But the artist also does this very cool thing because we've got this metropolis, this really sort of crazy architecture.
That's very cool.
The whole double-page spread towards the beginning of the book is the panel breaks are made up by the city itself.
That is really cool, and honestly, that's a double page spread that I didn't have trouble with the text boxes because you have different color schemes inside of each one of these panels. Mm-hmm. Kind of keeps it easier. Whereas the very next layout, even though this page is cool as hell with him in the side, the very next layout though is the text boxes are basically bled into the buildings. I think this is fresh enough. I haven't read the last run that led to this. Yeah. I feel disinvested from his story. I'm not exactly sure. Are we rooting for T'Challa? Like, the idea of moving from a monarchy to a democratic republic seems as though it's a positive thing.
Right.
But he's refusing to kind of
participate.
Relent?
I didn't get that.
Well, he's not the king. Couple. No, I know he understands that, but in a couple of these things, in a couple of the text boxes, I guess I'm still muddy on his motivation. I know he wants to protect Wakanda, but he's doing it in secret, and the only person that ends up seeing him is like, "What the hell are you doing here?" Like, I'm still unclear about his goals.
Right.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Because I thought that it's a good thing, right?
I think that's part of the story is him trying to
figure out what
place in this new world, and also being human, maybe having trouble letting go of he was the king, I feel like he's just trying to find his own place. So I don't know if even he knows yet, I feel like there's definitely an audience for this book. It just so happens I'm not it.
Yeah, from jump. Yeah. This is not your tone. This is not your genre. I do love really intricate stuff. Stuff like this. But it didn't hit me right. I don't know. Maybe it'll take... I could totally see in a year picking up some trades and just plowing through them. But as a single issue...
just a lot of setup.
It didn't leave me empty. It just kind of left me like, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So fresh enough.
Yeah. Amazing Spider-Man number 27 came out. Legacy number 921 by Zeb Wells and
Ed McGuinness.
Baby. McGuinness with inks by Mark Farmer and colors by Marcio Menez. So we finally, all right, the last thing happened. Kamala Khan is no more. She'll be back in a couple months, I guarantee it. And now we're moving on.
Yep.
And Peter is dealing with his emotions. Norman is dealing with his emotions because he feels that it's his fault, since Kamala only worked at Oscorp specifically to keep an eye on Osborn. Mm-hmm. So being a new person who has empathy and guilt,
being new to empathy,
Norman's like, oh shit, it's kind of my fault. She's dead, because of all of my past and the fact that she felt she had to keep an eye on me. But we do get some Peter and Black Cat, which I always enjoy. I love them together. I like the way I like what she's done here in the beginning. I don't think it's a big spoiler to say, it's a fight with the Shocker that Peter doesn't know she set up specifically to take Peter's mind off of the death of Kamala, because he's beating himself up and everything, and she set it up just because she's a good girlfriend.
I mean, she's thinks she's being a good girlfriend.
Yeah. It's like her version of a good girlfriend.
Yeah, she's a this is actually what I really enjoy about their relationship. The fact that she is wholly different.
Yeah.
Her idea of helping him cope is to keep him distracted because she wants to get his mind off of things, when really he probably just needs
morning
space
time?
Space and therapy.
Yeah. Oh, my man needs so much therapy.
But it was very funny. It's very cute. I was wondering how they were going to pivot in the next issue after, and they did it with a time jump. Mm-hmm. There's been a couple, I think they refer, there's been a couple of weeks. So we're essentially seeing him kind of his first time out.
Yeah.
Or just recently started patrolling again, and Felicia calls it. She's like, "Yeah, he's not ready. We're gonna head back, and everything's gonna be fine." And I liked it. I liked it a lot.
The people who have, I will agree with the people who have issues with Kamala Khan being killed off in another character's book and not given the gravitas and the weight of her own character story arc that leads to her death. I saw someone tweet, "Whoop, and next up, here's Doc Ock." It's like, yeah, we're kind of just, like, we're not glossing over it, but we really are just be like, oh, she's dead. Here comes a Doc Ock story. There's not even an issue of fallout from that. We're going to get, well, there is one coming, but it's called Fallen Friend, Death of Miss Marvel.
Yeah.
So it's not even like an issue in Spider-Man, the book she died in, where she gets a full issue. So I kind of get that.
I'm less sympathetic to that. It's comic books.
Sure,
but it does. So these will be collected in such an order to where I don't know. It's like the difference between this is going to be somebody's first comic book.
Yeah.
And if it's a 20-page meditation on the weight of death, it's not necessarily. I think it's okay. They make mention of it. It is affecting our main characters while still introducing the next story arc, and we're gonna get a book. It doesn't bother me.
Okay.
Because I like when people actually do pass away in your life, you don't completely stop. Mm-hmm. You do have to also keep kind of going to some degree, especially a couple weeks later.
Yeah.
So it's fine.
And then on top of that, I was a little weirded out by the new Doc Ock technology.
Weirded out in a good way, or
I don't know yet. These little things are so I can't tell if they're gonna be Jarro. Jarros.
I think I love it. I personally think I love it.
Okay, geez, how does this work? So Doc Ock had some tentacles that he was psychically linked to, and I think because of Superior Spider-Man, now those tentacles, which are AI and have thoughts of their own, sort of have a little crush on Peter, like a familial,
like a
connection.
His altruism affected them irrevocably.
Yeah. Yes. And so he kind of just visits. There's a scene here where Peter is asleep and the tentacles go in his open window and like tuck him in. Mm-hmm. And then Doc Ock catches wind of it, and he has created new tentacles, which are very cool looking. But each segment of the tentacles are their own living tentacle.
Yeah. So I want to add in. This is a callback to issue 900.
Yeah.
Where all the tentacle stuff kind of came to be, and also the tentacles saved J. Jonah because of Peter's affection for J. Jonah. Yeah. So like it's these, they've been on the run since then, I guess.
Yeah.
They've just been out in the cold. Otto finds them, gets them. And these the new tentacles, it's a blockchain of consciousness. Mm-hmm. Each segment of the tentacles can be separated and act as an agent of the tentacles, but then they kind of come back together. Yeah. I think it's cool.
And each of the tentacles has their own little goopy tentacles? Like,
so the inside is goop.
Yeah.
So he's slurping up all of like it's kind of like a
nanotechnology in liquid form.
Kind of.
Right?
Yeah, it's kind of like
my head make sense of it.
Like flubber?
It's flubber.
But they're powered by this goo.
Yeah.
The goo allows them to separate and work autonomously, but still maintain like the consciousness link of each one. And each one could be its own agent alone, separated from the others because of this capacitive gel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
grody. I respect it.
I was about to say I respect leveling up the character's technology in a really weird way. And then there's also some Goblin Queen stuff in here. So I'm still enjoying this book. I just, for some reason with this one, I was just like, well, I do kind of wish they spent a little bit more time on Kamala and a little bit. I always thought that the technology was a little weird, but it is very comic booky. Mm-hmm. So, also, Ed McGuinness drew Norman Osborn's hair wrong.
What?
Yeah, Norman Osborn has those weird waves.
Oh, they go left. Like,
they go across his head, not with his hairline. He messed that up. So I hate it.
Remind me again when Ock's clone body became...
Dude, no idea. I was literally just talking to someone about this.
This is a
the
Peter
other day.
clone, isn't it?
So the last time I was reading Superior Spider-Man, which was a new version of Superior Spider-Man, it was Doc Ock in a cloned Peter body, which was like toit and rippling muscles and all that.
And he dyed his hair and stuff.
And now he's got his bowl cut and he has put on
a little thicker.
He's classic Doc Ock again.
Yeah.
I did not stick with that, so I don't know how that happened. I don't know if it's just because of his habits. His body just looks that way again.
Don't get me wrong. I love this character design. Like, the new suit is cool. He's a little chunky, but he's solid. Like, he almost looks like a mini
Kingpin?
Yep.
Yeah.
Where he's still got like pecs, but he's just gutty.
Yeah.
I dig this character design. I think it's gonna be fun. And I don't. I get the complaint, but I think it's a little bit more of an echo of previous complaints about her death altogether. Yeah. I don't think this is business.
I don't think
business unusual.
I sympathize with people who are not tickled by how her death and character have been handled in this series specifically.
You're right. Sympathize, but it doesn't bother me though.
Just
personally.
A quick second. One of the all-time greats passed away yesterday.
Oh, John Romita.
Just an
Senior.
absolute master of the comic book craft. All-around nice fella, from what I understand. And the father of John Romita Jr., who's been drawing this entire series almost, except for the Ed McGuinness ones. I've been going through an epic collection of Amazing Spider-Man written by Stan Lee, drawn by John Romita Sr. He's the one who helped co-create Mary Jane and many other characters. And he's just so good. Going back and revisiting those issues is a pleasure, both from Stan Lee's writing and John Romita Sr.'s artwork. It's just, if you haven't read classic Amazing Spider-Man, highly recommend you pick up an epic collection. He really is probably one of the first artist books I've ever read, was John Romita Sr., reading those classic Spideys. So he's just awesome. Really, really good artist.
Well, I think we'll talk about it on the show tonight. And he's on the Mount Rushmore of comic book creators.
Really is, yeah. So I just wanted to mention it because I woke up to that news today and was kind of bummed. But also, plenty of work that you can buy and look at.
Oh, yeah, like
he worked on that book for so long.
I don't know how this is gonna sound. He was not taken early. There is he was like
90s, 91, 93.
There is, and he was still drawing 10 years ago.
Yeah.
There is so much amazing John Romita Sr. art and storytelling available.
Yeah. And he passed away. His son said he passed away peacefully in his sleep, which is like, wow.
That's living and dying the dream.
That's the good stuff.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Let's segue seamlessly.
Yeah, it's a Klik Klik Boom from Image Comics. It's a #1 issue. It's by Doug Wagner and Doug Dabbs and
Dougs.
Matt Wilson. So Doug Wagner's your boy. Tell us about it.
Doug Wagner and I have dinner often. We're Facebook pals as well as real face pals.
Oh.
FaceTime pals.
No.
But not FaceTime. But like face to face.
Oh, I see.
That's not true. I don't know the man. I don't even know what the fuck he looks like. Either way, I have thoroughly enjoyed his last 3 miniseries with Daniel Hilliard, who does not do the art for this one. But either way, Doug Wagner and Daniel Hilliard, I've talked about them on the show before, on every show. Every time I get a platform, I will talk about these books. Plastic, vinyl, plush, and I think there's another one, Ride, which I haven't finished yet. But either way, these are wonderfully twisted miniseries with nothing but humor and heart. So I saw that he started a new series called Klik Klik Boom. I think it's a miniseries also, with a different artist. And I was like, oh my God, without Daniel Hilliard. But I wanted to give it a shot anyway. What did you think of this book?
I think it's pretty fresh. I didn't realize as I was reading it that it was Doug Wagner, because I have read a couple of issues of his previous works and never finished them. Not on purpose. I just get distracted easily.
Why do you hate him?
I did find I like our main character, who I don't know her name honestly.
Elton John.
Oh, is it really?
No, I don't know, but
she
that's
calls
what
her
we
Elton John
call her.
because she's got the sunglasses. Who has been raised by her, I don't know, grandfather out in the middle of nowhere.
No clue.
In the ways of, I don't know, gun stuff. And
survivalist.
She's mute, and she communicates by taking photographs of people. She seems like a manic pixie dream girl kind of character who's like, I've got different colored hair every panel, and aren't I cute? But I like her. And she seems to be going after this corporation. But then we have a character who is a podcaster, wannabe journalist, and I find her to be a little annoying.
Oh, yeah?
So I'm like half on, half off. But she, maybe she'll warm up to her, this podcast character. But
Serena Biggs. I like her because her first scene is so on the nose and a little rough. But as soon as we get her with Elton John, they juxtapose each other quite nicely. As a podcaster, I'm not saying me as a podcaster, I'm talking about just like the stereotype of a podcaster, especially investigative journalist podcaster. She monologues, she is verbose, she speaks what she's thinking. Like, it's her habit to narrate everything. So like that comes through in the character, which is a direct opposite of the other character who literally only communicates through visuals. Yeah, I guess so.
Less gross, but yeah. You got the verbose person and the silent person.
Yeah, I also think having a mute character is a nice challenge, and I think that they pull it off pretty well. Mm-hmm. Like, we are alone with her for a good chunk of the book, and it's not until more than halfway through when I realize, oh yeah, she's not talking.
Right.
Like, I'm literally just kind of following and seeing flashbacks and all this stuff. It's not until later in the book when she explicitly signals it that, like, oh, you can't talk. Right, oh, okay. Yeah, no, I like this a lot. And I did like the art.
I wish it was the other. I wish it was Hilliard.
Yeah.
Is it Doug Hilliard? No.
Daniel
Hilliard. I do wish it was Daniel Hilliard. But the art's fine.
No,
the art is very solid.
I kind of like this. I don't know if I honestly don't know if Hilliard would have been right for this. There's no mean streak in this book.
Right.
The stuff that they work on together has kind of like a mean streak where your protagonists are horrible people.
Psychopaths.
This is a much different kind of story where you're essentially rooting for a vigilante and a journalist. And I don't know if Hilliard's kind of twisted, grotesque, sometimes gory style would work with this at all. This, I think we needed a colorful sketchiness, softerness. Yeah. Because even the violence is kind of obfuscated in this book. Mm-hmm. No, I like this a lot. I think it was a strong first issue. And I'm sorry that you hate everything. I will
look to you if you tell me that the book is worth keeping up with.
Yeah, right on. Yeah. The initial mystery seems very interesting. I hope it's a little bit more than just evil corporation.
Yeah.
Give it a little bit more. And there's a scene in here where she gets her ass smacked and she has no idea how to respond to it. So then just smacks the ass of the next guy walking by her as like a hello.
Yeah.
Like these are great silent scenes that I really enjoyed.
Yeah.
I like this.
Nice.
Yeah.
Anything else? Was that it?
Have you read anything else?
No, that's it.
What are you looking forward to?
Shit. I'm looking forward to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles number 140. It's a new jumping on point. I haven't read a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles story since issue 1 or 2 or 3. I got the IDW hardcover.
Oh, yeah. I sold those.
What's that? You sold them?
I sold them. I had like 6 of them.
Yeah.
And I just kept staring at them. I tried to read them a couple times. And I was like, oh, I'm going to read this. And I just ended up selling them.
But this is a new jumping on point, so I'm kind of curious about that. What else is coming?
I loved this. I loved the beginning of the Sophie Campbell stuff, especially when she was drawing it. I stuck with it for about 30 issues.
Yeah.
But then the book was still good, but I kept putting off reading it. Yeah. I don't know why. Like it's. I think maybe I'm a Turtle fan in doses as opposed to. I love movies, but do I watch all 5 seasons of the show? No.
I am very excited for the new film coming.
Oh yeah, me too. Yeah. I am excited for Night Fever, the new graphic novel by Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips.
Yeah,
came out this week. Hell yeah!
Nice little hardcover.
And I'm excited for the end of Cold War, the Captain America crossover event.
Yeah, you've been reading it.
I'm up to date on this bad boy.
The first issue.
Spoilers. I'm up to date on this bad boy. It's fun. It's some of the conflict is not forced. Silly. Oh, okay. Comic book silly, like Steve and Sam are fighting about something. But it's like it's like a hey, have a conversation for 5 seconds, you dummies. Kind of conflict, like comic booky conflict.
I do not like this art.
The whole series, the art has not been. Actually, wait, hang on.
It's not.
This is CF Villa, right? No.
No.
Carlos Magno. Yeah.
I don't like it. It's got a Juan Jose Rip sort of vibe to it. No. Some
of the issues of this is like a problem with Captain America books. Period. Like they usually kick off with like a great creative art, and then it just kind of gets sub-ish. Like this, both of these books started with Carmen Carnero, who's awesome, and Silva, RB Silva.
Oh yeah, I like
awesome,
Silva. Great.
But then now it's like Carlos Magno, and so yeah, I want a Captain America book that's got like a solid art the entire time. That'd be great.
You know what? I was going to bring it up now. I was gonna. Punisher by Jason Aaron.
But finished it.
I'm going to talk about it tonight on What You've Been Up to This Week,
Okay.
On the podcast.
What podcast is that?
That's the CultPop live stream, which goes, we go live streaming every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Join us there tonight. This is the end of our show. However, after the music, we're going to come back and we're going to talk about the reveal at the end of Void Rivals.
Music and we're going to talk about Void Rivals.
Yeah. So we'll see you in a couple minutes if you care.
But in the meantime, if you want to dip out, where can they find you?
My comic shop, Giant Destructo's Hero Complex. I said it at the top of the show.
It's good to repeat. It's good to repeat.
Also, you can tweet at me at JD's Hero Complex.
You can tweet at the show at CultPopGo. You can also email us at CultPopGo at gmail.com. CultPopGo at gmail.com. And join us every Wednesday night live.
Okay.
All right. We'll talk at you later. Bye.
Remember that, or catch a beating.
Thank you for listening to the Cult Pop Network, home to podcasts, live shows, and a whole lot of fun stuff for every flavor of fan. Follow us wherever you find your favorite podcasts, and be sure to join us live every Wednesday night at youtube.com/CultPopGo at 8 p.m. Eastern. While you're there, be sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon so you'll know when we drop new Thunder Rounds and episodes of Fresh Floppies, a spoiler-free show about single-issue comics released each week. Until then, we'll talk at you later.
Transformers, more than meets the eye.
For 3 seconds.
So at the end in the middle of Void Rivals, these two people are stuck on this planet, and they're like, "Oh, hey, look, there's a ship. We don't have any energy. Let's go to the ship and see if they have any energy. We're going to tap into their."
It's the other way. Like they think that they can get it started with whatever like small energy reserves they have.
Oh, they have energy.
Yeah, they spark it.
You're right.
And it immediately transforms it's a transformer.
Yeah.
Looks down at them and is like, oh, I could tell by the rust on my hands that I've been here for oh god, I've got to get to Cybertron.
I've been here a
and
long
literally
time.
pieces the fuck out.
Yeah.
And leaves them still stranded.
Do not be afraid. I mean you no harm. I'm Jetfire, a Cybertronian scientist. Can you please tell me how long I've been here? Nope. He's like, all right, bye.
It is so immaterial to the plot. It's almost offensive, which is totally fine.
But...
Well, no, the big story this week is that it's a backdoor introduction to this shared universe that Skybound is doing, because now they have the rights to both G.I. Joe as well as Transformers, and they're calling it the Energon universe.
Yeah.
So that's great. But if that's the headline for this book, people expecting a Transformers book are gonna be pissed, because this is just a tiny little thing of two people.
Reminds me of Spider-Boy.
A little bit.
Yeah, there was a big deal. Dan Slott's like, hey, everyone's gonna want this issue. There's a new character or whatever. I didn't even say that. He was just like, that's a big deal. And then Spider-Boy shows up and pieces the fuck out in like 3 panels. So very similar, but it was enough to get me excited. I thought it was really cool just to have this backdoor entry into brand new Transformers comics, which.
Wait for don't spill everything right away. Let's actually just piece it out. Piece it out.
Okay.
So does it enhance this book? No. Is it cool? Yes. At the end of the book, there's a nice letter by Robert Kirkman, who actually does talk about yes, the intention is that these two characters we're meeting here will be a part of this larger Energon universe, shared universe kind of thing.
Yes.
So it's not a one-off. It's not that was one of my concerns too, because I was enjoying this book so much. I was like, is this really just are we not going to give a shit about these people in 5 issues because it's really just about the robots? No,
right.
That's not the intention. So that was comforting. And then they share the books that are coming out of this, which is a Transformers #1 in October. Don't say it yet. Well, because I want to lead it up. All right. Okay. Transformers #1 in October. Duke in November or December. Duke #1 in December. Cobra Commander #1 in January. So they're doing it slow roll, and then they also revealed the creative teams, and the Transformers creative team. Go ahead and say it.
It's Daniel Warren Johnson.
Is one of our absolute favorite creators
love him so much.
This entire medium. Also, just such a perfect fit.
Yeah.
Everything about it screams amazing. And then you text me a couple days ago and you're like, hey, did you know the creative teams yet? I was like, no, what are they? And then I made a joke.
Yeah.
And the joke was accurate.
Yeah.
Which blew my goddamn mind, and I wasn't happy about it.
Yeah. So I don't think either of us are huge Joshua Williamson fans. I am slowly coming around a little bit because of his work on Superman. And wasn't there something else he's writing that I'm enjoying?
Oh, you like 2 issues of Green Arrow, right?
Green Arrow's off to a good start, and Superman's doing great. So up until this point, I haven't really cared about Joshua Williamson's writing. So he's writing Duke and Cobra Commander, and your joke to me was like, oh, is it going to be someone like fucking Joshua Williamson who's writing every book on the planet? And I was like, oh, yep, it is.
Jesus Christ.
Really, the hook for me is Daniel Warren Johnson on Transformers.
100%.
If you guys have not read any Daniel Warren Johnson, grab Wonder Woman Dead Earth. It's metal as fuck. Do a Power Bomb. And
Murder Falcon.
I
have so
good.
In the shop on Sundays, I have sold Murder Falcon and Do a Powerbomb so much.
Yes.
Those books are basically masterpieces.
Yeah, we just love them.
I'm very excited about this. I don't want anyone else to fill in art.
Yeah.
I will wait 6 months between issues if necessary. I will buy this in every format. Daniel Warren Johnson on Transformers is the most inspired choice by any IP owner that has ever existed. I'm not joking. Having Jason Aaron write Star Wars, pretty inspired. That's kind of cool. Let's put a creative talent on an IP book, which historically IP books usually, they spend so much money getting the rights.
Yeah.
It's interns writing it. At least that's how it was back in the 70s and 80s. It was just hey, throw anybody on there. Larry Hama is the exception, not the rule.
Yep. Larry Hama, who wrote the entirety of the G.I. Joe 80s comic book, and which is wonderful.
From what I understand too, that was the opportunity was thrown at him because no one wanted it, and he just did something with it. But having this kind of independent creative on such a big book, I'm so excited. It's not even funny. So excited.
Same.
And it does eclipse Joshua Williamson on Duke.
See, to the industry, he's a big name somehow.
He's like head honcho at he's the head writer in air quotes at DC.
Yeah.
He's literally he just ended an event, starting a new event.
What's the new event?
The Night Terrors.
The
He's writing
Night
that.
Terrors, right.
Yeah, like he writes
You're right.
everything, and you know what? None of it is bad,
Right. It's just fun.
but a lot of it is boring
Yeah.
to me.
Yeah.
I did like the one issue of Superman I read. I'm gonna wait till it's collected before I make any decisions.
Apparently, his Flash one was really good.
I read about 12 issues of it, and I was so bored.
Oh yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Dang. Well, there you go.
I have tried it constantly. You know what? I dug Dark Crisis for a while.
Yeah, we both did.
Yeah,
And then it ended, and I was like, oh, never mind.
Yeah, and then it like the back half of it was just like, oh, so you're this. Okay.
Yeah, it's this thing. Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
So like from my experience with Joshua Williamson, excellent starts, terrible landings.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
We'll see.
I'm gonna try them all.
I'm definitely going to try them. I'm certainly curious about Duke, and I'm more so. Actually, I don't really care about Duke. Cobra Commander. I'm actually kind of excited for Cobra Commander.
I mean, same writer. You gotta believe that they're going to be connected books.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going to read them, but I mean, as far as like my excitement,
I'm going to read them.
Transformers.
Noel, I'm going to read them.
Transformers, then Cobra Commander, then Duke.
So it's Transformers at like the top of a skyscraper, and then the third floor of the same 100-story skyscraper is Duke.
Yeah.
No. It's
No,
Cobra
Cobra
Commander.
Commander.
And then Duke is like the lobby elevator.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not the basement.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
in,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
like the lobby elevator to get to the rest. Yeah.
So anyway, that's what happens in Void Rivals.
Yeah, that's all spoilers, man. To go pick up a copy. It's
fun.
it's a special first appearance
like we said-
for 2 seconds.
Like
Yeah.
we said in the beginning, the book is worth it whether or
Yeah.
not the reveal happened.
Yeah,
I still
agreed.
would have enjoyed this even if there was no Transformers involved.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
agree.
yeah. All right.
That's
well,
it.
thanks for hanging out with us. We'll see you tonight, hopefully.
Yeah. See you guys later.
Toodles.
Do.
Do.